Actually, is it possible to bring this down a little bit? Kind of like the whole thing? That cannot come down. Or like this is okay, I think. Yeah, I think so. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jaya Gaura Nitai. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radhe, Radha, Madhava Radha. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Gaur Pimanandi. Jayam Sipad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Simadhi Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Skandi Biti Founder Acharya Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Samavata Bhakta Vrinda ki Harinam Sankirtan ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada ki. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Takshurindalitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prasarine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyachya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Surabhyay Namaha Om Surabhyay Namaha Om Surabhyay Namaha Mukham karoti vasalam pavam langayate girim Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our fourth seminar on the major topic of make Vrindavan villages.
咁歡迎大家咧係再次嚟到啦，我哋嘅第四節嘅課啦。我哋嘅題目咧係就造就咧係 Vrindavan 嘅村。
And all credit to the Matajis because we have an exclusive Mataji group. Besides our translator. 在
座大家都係好多媽都知喺度啦。
So all credit to the Matajis. Thank you for
歡迎各位
being present.
多謝大家。
And this morning, for those who attended the seminar, the topic was in regards to Srila Prabhupada's prophetic vision of the collapse of modern day civilization.
今朝早咧，我哋嘅題目咧就講到咧，聖巴我巴咧點樣能夠預見到啊呢個現代嘅文明咧係一路咁樣即係走下坡啊，一路去崩潰嘅邊緣。
I'm sure many of you have heard, or you might even be using the term civilization as we know it today will likely not be here tomorrow.
咁大家都可能要有一個期望咧，就係話現今嘅一個嘅文明啊，可能下一刻咧或者聽日咧就已經覆滅啦，已經係
So naturally,
滅亡㗎啦。
Naturally, the question arises: if the civilization as we know today will not be here tomorrow, then what will be here tomorrow?
咁如果真係發生嘅話，咁明日嘅會係乜嘢文明呢？如果真係而家嘅文明滅亡嘅話
What should be here tomorrow? What do our acharyas, especially our own founder Acharya, His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, what does he say? What has he said?
咁呢方面嘅資料呢，我哋就要參考翻呢我哋嘅創辦導師啦 ，A.C. Bhakti 跟住 Swami Prabhupada 啦。
And of course, this is what we will be looking at. What is Yeah, just coming to our main slide. So these were the topics we covered already. 1, 2, 3, and today with the fourth one, which is entitled Creating an Alternative Civilization, Iskcon's Mission for the Next 50 Years.
咁呢度有5項喺度喺個銀幕嗰度，咁頭3項我已經講完，我哋已經講完㗎啦。今日咧就會講第4項嘅，就係咧創造一個代替方案嘅文明啊，就係 Iskcon 未來嗰50年咧我哋嘅使命。
And of course, the last and fifth seminar will be tomorrow morning, which will be entitled Practical Steps for Every Devotee.
而聽日嘅朝頭早，我哋會講第5個題目，就係對每一個奉獻者嚟講，實際嘅每一步應該點樣走。
To bring about this alternative civilization, there are 3 main areas to consider.
咁好啦，今日嘅大題目咧就係一個代替嘅方案啊，一個嘅文明。咁有幾點嘅。
The first is understanding how Vedic education is meant to be understood as academic or Gurukul on one level, and also vocational or apprenticeship on the other.
咁關於呢個偉達嘅教育方面咧，其實有2大項嘅，一個咧就係 Gurukul 嘅系統咧，即係呢啲靈性導師嘅學校嘅系統咧，佢哋係 academic 嘅，即係學術性嘅；另一個係 vocational， 即係職業性嘅2種嘅。
This brings us or introduces the concept of what is called Chatur Vidya.
咁個概念咧叫 Chatur Vidya。
Yeah, we will see in the second aspect here, which is Vedic governance through a Varnashram-based society, a working model of sustainable, God-centered living.
咁第2個點咧就係呢個偉達嘅一個政府嚟講咧，尤其是係呢個 Varnashram 建基於呢個4社會4靈性嘅一個社會嚟講咧，佢咧係能夠令到啲人民咧就有一個以神為中心去生活啦，同埋咧一個嘅工作嘅體系咧係能夠一路延續下去嘅。
And the third is Vedic economy. We spoke about this a little bit. Through Krishi, natural agriculture, and Goraksha, cow protection.
第3點咧就係呢個偉達嘅一個經濟學嚟講咧，係透過2樣嘢嘅，一個係自然嘅耕種啦 ，Krishi， 而另一樣咧就係Raghava， 就係母牛嘅保護啦。
So, just for everyone's information, there are, when we say Chatur Vidya, only 3 are presented here. Chatur Vidya, Vidya in this context means science.
咁我哋講呢個字咧叫 Chatur Vidya，Chatur 即係4啦 ，Vidya 係解作咧呢個科學。
Chatur of course means 4, 4 sciences. The first is actually called Anvikshiki in Sanskrit. It's not here. Anvikshiki means the science of philosophy.
咁有4項啦，咁呢度3項，其中有第1項係冇寫到呢度，就係講係一種我哋嘅呢個哲學方面嘅了解嘅嗰種嘅知識。
These 3 sciences are actually directly connected with the first. In other words, before taking up these 3 sciences, one needs to first have a good basis or understanding of the science of philosophy.
即係話，首先個主題咧就係我哋有足夠嘅好嘅哲學啦，咁其他3項咧就會跟隨㗎。
And these 4 sciences, we should try to understand, is what is meant to make up the curriculum in Varnashram College.
咁呢嘅四種嘅呢啲所有呢啲嘅知識嚟講咧，都係喺我哋 One Ashram 咧，我哋嘅嗰種學習方面咧，我哋嘅課程裏邊有教嘅。
We have spoken a few times during these seminars of the importance of establishing, as desired by Srila Prabhupada way back in 1974, in every single center that we have. Jai. You're the, besides our translator, you're the lone male. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. You're hiding. Okay. So way back in 74, yes, Prabhupada had very clearly indicated that wherever we have a center, a temple, or a project, there should be an educational institution to systematically study actually these subject matters. Yeah.
咁其實巴奧帕咧喺早在1974年咧已經有個理想同埋有個計劃咧，就係話我哋所有 Iskcon 咧每一個中心嚟講咧，都應該咧有一個培訓嘅一個課程啊，就要教導呢方面嘅哲學啊，呢方面嘅科學嘅。
Yes. So Vedic education, which is largely unknown in modern day society, needs to be understood on these two levels, one being academic and the other being vocational.
咁通常啊，呢啲咁嘅偉大嘅教育方面咧，都係俾現今嘅人咧忽略啊，同埋不知嘅。咁記住咧，呢個嘅教育方面咧有兩種嘅，即係兩個體系嘅，一個咧係學術性嘅，一個咧係職業性嘅。
Srila Prabhupada taught that true education must prepare a child for life, not merely for earning money.
聖巴巴咧嘅教導咧就係話，真正嘅教育嚟講咧，一定要準備俾一個小孩咧係能夠佢適用於整個人生嘅，就唔係淨係單單咧去咁針對性話佢點樣賺錢嘅。
Vedic education, therefore, consists of two complementary streams, both governed by guna and karma, and not by birth.
而另一個特點咧，呢個偉大嘅教育嚟講咧，就係以兩種嘅重點嘅，一個咧就係睇下佢咧佢個特性啊，即係佢嘅品性，佢官啊，佢咩形態，即係三個形態邊種形態嘅人。同埋佢嘅卡瑪，佢本身咧係嗰種因果嘅業報咧嘅關係，就唔係單單咧係佢出生嘅，即係唔係佢出生去判斷佢點樣受教育
嘅。Academic education within the Vedic system is primarily for those who are by nature, brahmanas and kshatriyas.
咁再講翻咧，呢個學術性嘅教育啊，尤其是指係 Gurukula， 即係靈性導師學校嗰類嘅教育嚟講咧，係睇下嗰個人嘅品性啊。如果佢係婆羅門啦，或者係 Ketu 啊，即係剎帝利嘅話咧，就主要係為佢哋而設嘅。
And the purpose of that education is character formation.
而呢方面教育主要嘅作用咧，就係等修養佢嘅品格啦。
Self-discipline means learning what is brahmacharya life, means a life of celibacy, abstinence.
同埋要教導佢哋點樣去自我約束啊，即係自我去一個有好嘅規律啊方面嘅，即係尤其是係 brahmacharya 佢嘅精守方面啊，同埋嗰種苦行方面。
I think we have all heard or read how Srila Prabhupada speaks about brahmachari life before marriage and brahmachari life after marriage, or within. I'm sorry, brahmachari life before marriage and brahmacharya life within marriage. And of course, brahmacharya life after marriage.
咁帕祿帕亦都教導我哋咧，一個精手嚟講咧，咁即係話控制佢嘅性慾咧，佢係有3個階段都要控制嘅。無論佢係一個精手生啦，喺呢個結咗婚之後裏邊嗰個精手啦，同埋佢喺婚姻以後佢係離家，即係做一個即係棄絕嘅時候，亦都要精手，3種精手。
Within marriage, Srila Prabhupada speaks about brahmachari grihastha.
所以帕祿帕亦都解釋，就算一個 grihastha 一個居士咧，佢都係一個精手生嘅居士。
So most people will be puzzled. What is a brahmachari grihastha?
咁有人會即係唔明啦，點為之又精手又居士咧？
Either you're brahmachari or you're grihastha.
你一係精手一係居士，點解又精又居啊？
But these Hare Krishna people, they come up with these terms, right? Brahmachari grihastha. So we can understand, we should understand, and in modern day society practically it is impossible for most people to understand.
咁所以其實啲人好多都唔明嘅，尤其是現今嘅社會咧，佢哋搞唔清楚呢方面嘅知識嘅。
And this is so crucial actually, especially for those who are entering grihastha life, and that means the majority of people, so crucial for our devotees to understand what is grihastha brahmachari.
咁所以呢個好重要嘅，尤其是咧嗰啲人會係進入居士階段，大部分人都會進入居士嘅通常。咁佢哋要了解呢方面咧，點樣係精手生居士，居士又精手生咧
？Many years back, when the Bhuvaneshwar temple was in its early stages,
喺即係好早期啦，喺 Bhuvaneshwar 印度一個地區啦嘅廟嗰度。
At that time, I think most of you may know, Srila Prabhupada had actually sent one of his disciples from Orissa, His Holiness Govinda Maharaj, to Bhuvaneshwar to actually open a center there and to translate all of his books in Oriya.
咁當時咧，帕祿帕有個門徒咧，又係奧利斯薩省個邦人，咁佢被帕祿帕派去嗰個地區啦，就係 Bhuvaneshwar 嗰度咧，就係負責開廟啦，同埋去翻譯將帕祿帕嘅書咧變成當地嘅文字Oriya嘅文字。
And His Holiness Govinda Maharaj was already a little bit aged, so Srila Prabhupada had sent one brahmachari by the name of Bhagavat to assist him.
咁因為咧呢個嘅帕祿帕弟子咧個年紀都有翻咁上下，佢叫Govinda Maharaj 咧，咁就佢咧就帕祿帕安排咗另一個後生啲嘅奉獻者叫 Bhagavat Das 咧，就係幫佢做助手嘅。
So many years later, after actually the disappearance of Maharaj, Bhagavat was mentioning because he had so much personal association with him. Yeah.
咁好多年之後啊，直到呢個Govinda Maharaj 已經離世㗎啦，離開咗呢個世界。咁佢嘅僕人咧，Bhagavat 咧就講翻當時嘅事。
So he was sharing one of the confidential things that Maharaj had mentioned to him.
咁佢講翻咧有一個機密嘅故事咧，係講翻出嚟，Maharaj咧同佢呢個僕人講翻嘅。
Before meeting Srila Prabhupada, Govinda Maharaj was actually a householder.
咁喺未遇到帕祿帕嘅時候咧，呢位Govinda咧，佢本身之前係居士嘅。
And he has seven children.
佢有生咗7個仔嘅，7個仔女嘅，有7個仔女嘅。
A bit of a contrast from what is existing today.
咁依家好唔同啊，個個都唔生，佢哋當時有7個。
Yeah. Well, I tell people all the time, in our family, I'm from Canada, from my mother's side and father's side, they both had 12 and 14 children.
哇！我當時咧，咁我爸爸嗰邊、媽媽嗰邊，一邊係12個，一邊14個嘅，即係好多仔女嘅。
There were a lot of birthday parties.
如果你開生日會，真係好熱鬧啊！
So coming back to Bhuvaneshwar.
咁講翻 Bhuvaneshwar 呢單嘢先。
So one time Bhagavad Prabhu was sharing how he had heard from Govinda Maharaj that throughout his householder life, he had sex life 7 times.
咁講翻咧，原來咧佢做居士嘅時候咧，即係高一個 window 咧，佢同佢太太嗰個性生活總共有7次嘅。
That is called Grihastha Brahmacharya.
呢種咁樣嘅活動咧，呢種咁嘅生活咧就叫Grihastha Brahmacharya.
Yeah, means sex life is meant for procreation.
咩意思咧？即係話過性生活，只不過係為咗繼後香燈嘅啫，即係為咗去生兒育女先至做嘅。
And it is only when one has that understanding and also the training that one can actually introduce or apply the first of the 10 main samskaras, means Garbhadhana samskara.
與此同時咧，一個人仲可以咧係幫佢即係去生兒育女做埋一個嘅儀式啊！嗰、個儀式叫 Garbhadhana Samskara 印蛋淨化法。
And without the Garbhadhana samskara means that one one prepares oneself before begetting a child. There are guidelines given in the Shastra so that one can attract a highly qualified soul.
呢個嘅印蛋淨化法咧，就係話未生兒育女之前咧，就已經咧係有個嘅程序啊！呢、個程序咧就要吸引高質量嘅靈魂做你嘅仔女。
And as we know, the whole world is in dire need of such qualified souls.
我哋知道呢個世界就係咁缺乏啊！呢啲咁優質嘅靈魂。
So Srila Prabhupada had great expectations from his householders to actually rise to that level of qualification so that they practice and follow the principles of ideal Vedic Grihastha life.
咁所以帕帕就係引介咧呢啲嘅程序啦，咁讓我哋咧就係一個好有優質嘅居士嘅生活啦，同埋吸引咧多啲咁嘅靈魂咧能夠咧喺呢個世界咧係出現。
So it begins at this level of brahmacharya training.
所以當一個好嘅居士咧，佢首先咧要有呢方面嘅精手身嘅訓練先。
So Prabhupada used to explain that brahmacharya training is to prepare an individual, a young boy, to be either an ideal brahmachari or an ideal grihastha.
咁拋開解釋咧，呢、個精手身嘅訓練咧，就係要令到嗰個人咧，佢一係咧就做一個好嘅精手身，一係做一個好嘅居士。
Yes. And then other purpose within Chaturvidya, mastery of Trayi for Brahmanas and mastery of Dandaniti is for Kshatriyas.
咁喺呢個4嘅種嘅哲學知識方面咧，咁亦都有分啦，一叫Dandaniti 啦。
Yeah, Trayi.
Trayi 咧就係俾婆羅門嘅，Dandaniti 咧就係俾剎帝利嘅。
Trayi refers to the science of education.
Trayi 嘅意思即係教育啦。
There are 14 standard books of knowledge.
有14種咧嘅知識嘅。
Yeah, that make up the study, the curriculum for Brahmanas.
咁呢14項嘅唔同嘅知識領域咧，就係訓練呢個婆羅門嘅課程嘅。
And Dandaniti refers to the science of politics or governance.
咁呢個 Dandaniti 咧就係去做一個即係大家外交啊，大家點樣去相處啊，同即係呢方面咧嘅行政啊、手腕啊呢方面對一個即係 Kshatriya 剎帝利就係有用嘅。
When Krishna and Balaram went to Gurukul, after leaving Vrindavan, they took up the science of Dandaniti.
咁當 Krishna 同 Balaram 咧，佢哋細個咧，佢哋去咗靈性導師學校嗰度學習嘅咧，就係學習呢方面嘅 Dandaniti。
And these are the subjects that are taught for both the Vedas, Upanishads, Vedanta, Sanskrit, Sankhya, Yoga, Tarka, philosophy, ethics, logic, 64 arts and sciences, and for the Kshatriyas, Dhanurveda.
咁呢方面嘅學習咧，包括係偉大經啦 （Vedas） 啦、Upanishad 即係奧義諸書啦、Vedanta 啦呢個終極偉大經啦、Sanskrit 啦梵文啦、Sankhya 啦即係數論啦、Yoga 啦瑜伽啦、Tarka 啦嘅仲有哲學啦一啲嘅邏輯啊呢啲嘅64項嘅藝術啊，同埋啲科學啊仲有對薩蒂嚟講咧，會學習呢個 Dhanurveda 嘅。
Yes, and naturally it takes many years to study all of these subjects.
呢啲咁多唔同類別嘅知識咧，要好多年嘅時間。
Yes, when the Pandavas when they were young boys, they were sent to Gurukul, and after many years they came back, grown up. Yeah.
咁當呢個潘達華五兄弟咧，佢哋去咗咕魯圖讀書之後咧，佢哋長大啦，跟住佢哋翻嚟啦。
And primarily for Brahmanas, they are trained to become teachers or guides, and those who are meant to be Kshatriyas, they will be natural leaders.
好啦，佢哋學習呢方面嘅知識，最後嚟講咧，佢哋會成為咧一個導師啦，一個嘅指引人嘅人啦，同埋如果對薩蒂嚟講，佢會成為領袖啦。
Yes. Vedic civilization, this is from a lecture in Washington. Vedic civilization is training. Gurukul means how to train boys to become first-class men.
咁呢個引咗咧係聖包巴1976年咧嘅講座嚟嘅，喺華盛頓嘅。咁講到咧係偉大嘅文明嚟講咧，就係要訓練啊。而呢個訓練方面咧就係 Gurukula， 即係靈性導師學校咧，就係去訓練一啲嘅男仔咧，就哋成為咧係一流嘅男人。
And from a lecture in Vrindavan, education should be based on brahmacharya and discipline.
1974年咧就係聖包巴嘅講座嚟嘅，咁嗰度講到咧教育咧就係建基於咧係精守啦 brahmacharya 咧，同埋 discipline 即係話要守紀律。
And this corresponds directly with chapter 7, pages 45-48 in the book Varnashram Education, where formal education is reserved for those qualified by aptitude.
咁呢一本書咧叫做 Varnashram 嘅教育方面咧，第46到48節第7章嗰度咧係亦都有講到嘅。咁呢個正式嘅教育嚟講咧，就係保留俾嗰啲係有資格嘅 aptitude
aptitude, natural qualification.
即係佢有本身佢自己一個好自然嘅有資格嘅有啲傾向。
So we have looked at academic education. Now we're looking at vocational training.
咁我就講完咧係呢個學術性方面啦。我哋而家講下一個題目就係呢個即係職業方面嘅教育啦。
Which is primarily for Vaishyas and Shudras.
咁呢方面咧係主要係俾嗰啲嘅 Vaishya 同埋 Shudra， 即係Vaishya 同埋樹陀啦。
Whereas academic education is largely intellectual, vocational training is more in terms of manual training.
咁呢個學術性嘅就係主要係哲學上啦、學術性嘅啦。就呢個 vocational 即係一啲佢哋嘅呢個工藝方面嘅，即係去謀生方面嘅。
Learning some skill or some trade.
即係話一啲嘅技巧啊，一啲嘅即係工藝嘅方面嘅嘢。
So these are some of the purposes here. It will such kind of training will lead towards practical self-sufficiency.
咁呢方面嘅訓練就令佢能夠自給自足啦，好實際上都能夠即係養到自己啦。
If one is the son of a carpenter, generally one will learn that trade and he will make a living from that trade.
咁譬如一個木匠嘅仔女，咁佢自然學咗爸爸嗰套嘢，咁佢都自己可以謀生啦。
We know of the term small-scale industry within a village context. There are so many different small, we call small-scale industry activities related to both land and cows.
咁喺農村嗰度啦，咁亦都有一啲訓練咧，就係一啲比較細嘅作坊啊，咁佢哋喺呢個務農啊，同埋呢個養牛方面啊，咁有啲好嘅技巧可以學到啊。
It will, in this way, provide economic stability.
咁呢方面嘅訓練亦都能夠提供到喺經濟上咧，可以有穩定嘅收入啦。
Engagement according to one's nature.
咁佢按照每個人嘅唔同嘅傾向啊、本性啊，咁樣去有所從事啦。
And generally that is done by living with a teacher or master.
咁呢種教導嘅方法咧，都係叫做師徒制啊，即係同埋個師傅一齊住啊，咁樣學習嘅。
Learning by doing.
咁即係一路去實習，就一路學習。
We call on-the-job training.
即係話咧係一路做一路學。
Yeah, by seeing, by observing.
即係你一路睇住師傅點做，你係有手擺眼見就睇住嚟做啦。
Yes. And the skills include the following: agriculture, related activities, cow protection, trade, cottage industries, crafts, and services.
咁呢方面嘅訓練咧係咩工種咧？包括務農啊、牛隻嘅保護啊、呢個即係去 trade 啊、做生意啊、貿易啊、一啲棉花嘅工業啊、一啲嘅手藝啊、一啲服務嘅行業呢方面嘅。
There's a very long list of detailed activities.
仲有好長嘅清單係冇講啊。
How to make cloth, for example, cloth weaving.
咁譬如你個手藝點樣織布啊？點樣整件衫啊？
Srila Prabhupada actually wanted that in these communities, not only we learn to grow food, but we learn to make our own cloth.
即係話我哋唔單止自己種自己食啦，仲可以即係自己整件衫出嚟自己着㗎。
We should note that actually most of us are wearing cloth that is unhealthy, unnatural.
大家可能意識到啦，我哋着嘅衫係唔健康，亦都唔自然嘅喎。
We're eating food that is also unhealthy.
或者食緊啲嘢都唔係好健康嘅喎。
Practically everything we're doing is unhealthy.
樣樣做嘅嘢都可能唔健康嘅喎。
Yeah. In a conversation in Hyderabad, Prabhupada mentioned how not everyone should go to school and college. Let him learn a trade.
咁喺呢個 Prabhupada 咧，喺Hyderabad 印度嗰度咧，1976年咧嘅對話嚟講咧 ，Prabhupada 講到咧，唔係每個人咧都應該一定要去學校學嘢啊，學啲學術性嘅嘢。但係如果佢有需要，佢可以學嘅點樣交易啊，點樣做生意嘅。
This is a major topic, especially for parents. Parents. Yeah.
即係話對一啲父母嚟講咧，就特別適應。
Generally, parents want their child, both boys and girls, to get the highest level of education.
通常啲父母咧都望子成龍啊，即係希望佢哋讀書越高越好啊。
And we have, this is how modern day society has been established. We think that no one can be successful unless one gets an education.
因為現今嘅社會期待咧，如果你唔能夠好好受教育咧，你肯定唔會係成為一個成功嘅人士。
But in the Vedic culture, most people actually don't go to school.
但喺偉達嘅時代咧，唔係個個都去學校㗎。
And also, most people are not literate.
同埋好多人都文盲㗎喎。
Now, you should not necessarily conclude that Maharaj is promoting illiteracy.
唔代表我哋係推廣呢樣嘢啊，文盲。
But it's better to be cultured than being literate. I mean, if one nowadays people are literate, but they're not cultured.
有文化仲好過文明啦，但係而家啲人咧有文明，又冇文化，雖然唔文明。
If we have to choose between both, we should choose to be cultured.
咁如果文盲同埋呢個文化，你人淨係可以揀一樣，我哋就係會揀呢個有文化。
And in another lecture in Vrindavan, education means to teach how to live simply and work according to one's nature.
咁喺1976年咧，係Prabhupada咧喺 New Vrindavan 美國呢個地方咧一個講座就講到啦，教育嘅意思咧就係話去教導咧點樣去好簡樸地生活，同埋咧按照一個人嘅本性咧嚟到去工作。
And this is connected with what is described. This book, Vedic Education, is basically describing a Vedic system of education.
咁亦都會講到嗰本書叫 Vedic Education， 即係呢個偉大嘅教育方面嘅。
Yeah. Now, Trayi means yes, Brahminical education. Srila Prabhupada emphasized that Brahmanas must be trained academically, not sentimentally.
咁第三點咧，我哋講到Trayi喺呢個四種嘅教育方面嘅，尤其是係指呢個婆羅門嘅教育啊。Prabhupada咧強調咧，婆羅門嚟講咧，一定要係受到呢個學術上方面嘅教育，就唔係咧感情用事嘅。
So this summarizes here what I was mentioning a little earlier. Anvikshiki. Anvikshiki is the science of philosophy meant for all the three. The Dvijas means Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas.
咁呢度講到呢個字眼咧叫做Anvikshiki咧，即係佢嘅嗰種嘅即係哲學方面嘅科學咧，就係俾Dvija 嘅，就係婆羅門啦、剎帝利同埋卑舍嘅。
Yeah. So these are the categories, and these are the faculties. In the Varnashrama college, these are the 4 faculties that should be introduced.
咁喺呢個Varna Ashram 即係4社會4靈性嘅學院裏邊咧，呢4種嘅唔同種類嘅知識咧，就會係引介出嚟咧，去讓大家學習。
Yeah, just like we have in university, faculty of education, faculty of economics, etc.
就好似喺大學裏邊有唔同嘅學科啊，有啲有唔同嘅分類咁樣。
In a lecture in Hyderabad, Brahmanas must be trained in Shastra, otherwise society becomes blind.
咁後巴喺1976年咧嘅講座講到啦，一個婆羅門就應該咧係受訓練喺經典方面嘅，否則嘅話咧，整個嘅社會咧都會變得盲目啊。
Yeah, there are 3 mandatory activities that daily must be performed by Brahmanas.
咁有3類咧婆羅門咧，佢哋每日都要做嘅活動嘅。
And one, of course, is the first. There are 6 activities. 3 are mandatory and 3 are optional.
其實有6種活動嘅，有3種咧係強制性要做嘅，有3種咧就係自願性嘅。
The 3 mandatory activities. Number 1 is to study Shastra.
咁3種強制性，第一就係要學習經典啦。
Second activity, to perform personal worship of the Lord.
第2種強制性活動咧係你要自己個人去崇拜呢個神像。
And the third mandatory activity is to give in charity.
第3種強制性就係要布施出嚟做布施。
Because generally Brahmanas will receive gifts, but they will not just keep or accumulate what they don't need. They will give extra, whatever is extra.
因為一個正確嘅婆羅門咧，佢會係接受人嘅捐獻啦，但係佢唔會將啲捐獻咧就留翻俾自己，等佢喺度累積嘅喎。佢會將有多冇需要嘅嘢咧，又會捐獻翻出去嘅。
Yes. Why both academic and vocational education are essential?
第四點咧就係講到咧點解兩者學術性同埋呢個嘅職業性嘅教育咧都係咁重要嘅咧？
Srila Prabhupada warned that one-sided education creates chaos.
咁聖拋巴解釋咧，如果係側重於一邊嘅教育咧，就會搞到有混亂嘅情況出現㗎啦。
If only academic, then it is not practical, and it makes people ultimately into shooters.
咁如果淨係學一啲學術性嘅，即係文字上嘅嘢，咁變得如果你又唔去着重嗰啲點樣去實踐啊，或者係點樣去職業方面嘅話咧，咁啊搞到唔實際啦，變咗，同埋啲人咧好依賴啦。
And if it is only vocational, then there is no proper guidance nor wisdom.
咁如果淨係喺着重喺呢個嘅工藝方面嘅教育嘅話咧，咁變咗會搞到咧係冇一個好嘅指引啦，亂咗啦，同埋係冇個智慧喺背後啦。
Present day system of education is very much lacking in terms of humanities, in terms of philosophy, in terms of psychology, literature. Mostly it's like Shudra oriented.
咁現代嗰啲嘅教育嚟講咧，喺出邊嚟講咧，都係好似 Sutra 方面嘅教育嘅，即係佢冇一個好嘅智慧喺度啊，冇一個即係真正嘅哲學喺背後嘅。
If you produce only Shudras, society will naturally collapse.
咁1977年咧係拋喺Vrindavan講嘅，如果我哋淨係去製造即係去教育啲人去成為 Sutra 成為樹陀嘅話咧，咁整個社會咧到頭來咧都會崩塌。
Which is what largely modern education is preparing people to work for someone, isn't it? To get a job. Getting a job means depending on somebody else.
現代教育就係咁啊，教人咧去返工啊，去求職啊咁樣。咁即係話你依賴他人啦。
Yeah. And in a lecture in Chandigarh, we want brain, arms, belly, and legs working together.
1976年咧，包巴講座講到啦，我哋係需要有頭腦啦，有手啦，有呢個肚腹啦，亦都要有腳嘅。咁佢要互相咧係好好協調去工作嘅。
So we mentioned, I'll just repeat also. Now regarding the discussion on Varnashram College.
咁就係我哋講全部啲嘢都係同呢個 Varnashram College， 即係一個四社會四靈性嘅學院有關。
There's a whole section actually in this book speaking about Varnashrama on Varnashram College.
咁尤其是我介紹嗰本書咧，就係嗰本書叫做講關於呢個四社會四靈性嘅。
And the question was asked whether Varnashram College is also for women.
有人問咧就係話，究竟呢個四社會四靈性嘅學院咧，係咪都適合女士去讀嘅咧？
And Prabhupada indicated, no, it is primarily for men.
咁拋巴解釋啦，其實最主要係俾男士去讀嘅。
We need to understand how these, what we call Dvija, these categories in society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, and Vaishya, these are three natural leaders in society.
我哋要明白咧 ，Dvija 即係再生族啊！嗰啲再生族嚟講咧，就係婆羅門啦、剎帝利啦同埋卑舍，佢哋係社會上咧一個好自然嘅領袖嚟嘅。
And especially the Brahmanas and Kshatriyas, as we saw a little earlier, require many years of training and education.
尤其是咧係婆羅門同剎帝利咧，佢哋需要好多年去接受教育咧，先至成為嗰個身份嘅。
And when we don't have such kind of qualified leaders in society, then naturally society cannot function properly.
如果我哋冇呢啲咁即係天然嘅領袖出現喺呢個社會裏邊咧，咁成個社會就唔能夠好好咁樣運作嘅。
Now we come to what is called Sri Dharma.
好啦，我哋會講呢個 Sri Dharma 女士嘅佢哋嘅宗教嘅職務，佢哋嘅職責係咩咧？
Connected with stability and culture.
就係講關於咧係能夠好穩重、好穩定啦，同埋又好有文化啦， 呢方面嘅資料嘅。
The core principle is to actually provide protection to women in all stages of life.
咁個最主要核心嗰種嘅大原則咧，就係話咧，去保護一個女性咧，喺佢人生裏邊所有任何階段都得到保護。
And within the Vedic culture, these 3 stages of protection happen in childhood when a young girl is protected by her father, and when she is married, she is protected by her husband, and when the husband is no longer present, she is protected by members of the family, the sons.
咁點樣保護法咧？咁呢度講到啦，當一個女士咧，佢係喺細路仔，即係喺小孩嘅時代咧，佢受爸爸保護啦。當佢出嫁之後，咁咪受呢個丈夫保護啦。當丈夫離開咗，佢年老啦，咁咪受佢嘅兒子保護啦。
In the Vedic culture, primarily, women are meant to be trained to be ideal mothers and ideal wives.
咁喺呢個偉大嘅文明裏邊咧，女士咧，佢哋受訓練成為一個好理想嘅丈夫啦。同埋好理唔係好理想嘅妻子啊，做一個好理想嘅妻子嘅。
Prabhupada explains how in the Vedic culture every woman must be married.
咁喺偉大嘅時代咧，所有女士都要接受呢個婚姻嘅。
There might be exceptions, but that is the general rule.
咁當然啦，梗有例外嘅，但係一般嚟講都係要出嫁嘅。
And therefore, when we speak about household management, it means that women are meant to be connected with family.
咁所以我哋會教一啲叫做即係喺持家方面嘅一啲嘅管理。咁持家嘅意味住咧，佢要結咗婚啦，咁之後先至管理個家庭嘅啦。
And there are many subject matters that are found in what is called the 64 arts and sciences, whereby many of these arts and sciences can be taken up by ladies.
咁亦都會講述到咧有64項嘅即係工藝啊，同埋嗰啲嘅科學方面嘅，咁女士都可以參與嘅。
And we were discussing also how the education for the women is meant to be given separately than for men.
咁亦都講到咧，就係有好多唔同嘅教育方面咧，都係分開嘅，即係男還男，女還女，去接受教育嘅。
Even 100 years ago, in America, and I think all over the world, there used to be separate institutions for men and women, not as we find today, co-education.
咁依家咧就大家撈埋一齊去受教育啦，但係如果你100年前咁耐啦，你就算喺美國啊，喺東方地方啊，咁佢哋都係男還男就女還女咁樣去受教育嘅。
Yeah. So in the Mahabharata, Grandfather Bhishma Dev, he speaks quite extensively on this whole subject matter of Sri Dharma.
咁喺馬哈帕拉塔偉大的巴達嗰本書咧，就係 Bhishma Dev 咧，佢係講好多資料係關於呢個 Sri Dharma 女士方面嘅宗教嘅原則啊，嗰啲嘅職責。
So we can come back to this. This is the first of 3 levels of education in terms of, or 3 levels within the Chaturvidya. The first one we're looking at is the science of education.
咁呢方面就係關於即係我哋頭先講咧係唔同方面嘅教育咧，咁其中一項嚟嘅呢個係。
Now we will look at what is called the science of politics, what is called Vedic governance.
好啦，我哋再講下一個題目啦，就係關於 politics 嘅，即係一啲政治上嘅嘢啦。就係喺偉大經裏邊係點樣去解釋呢方面嘅學習咧
？In the Vedic system, society is harmonized when Brahmanas give guidance and give spiritual and moral guidance, especially to the Kshatriyas.
咁你有講到咧一個偉大嘅制度嚟講咧，一個社會能夠咧好和諧咁樣去存在咧，就需要咧有以下嘅條件嘅。第一，婆羅門咧佢哋會去俾出靈性啦，同埋道德方面嘅指引俾啲人民啦。
When Kshatriyas govern and protect according to the principles of dharma.
咁第二點咧就係嗰啲嘅剎帝利咧，嗰啲嘅管理階層咧，佢哋係能夠去管理一個國家咧，就係根據咧呢個 Dharma， 根據呢個嘅宗教法啦，同埋係呢個能夠保護咧啲人民咧，亦都會根據呢個 Dharma 宗教法。
In modern day societies, we know we have introduced this artificial separation of church and government.
喺現今嘅管理嘅國家，佢哋都係將咧宗教咧同埋佢哋嘅呢個政治咧係分開嚟嘅，互不相干嘅。
Yeah, but in the Vedic culture, as we know, we have the term Raja Rishi. A king is meant to be qualified materially as a Raja and also qualified spiritually as a Rishi.
咁我哋以前咧喺呢個偉大嘅時代咧，叫國王咧係 Raja Rishi。Raja 即係佢哋係好有權力啦，佢哋作為國王啦。Rishi 即係佢哋都係聖人嚟嘅，兩方面佢哋都擁有呢方面嘅品質嘅。
Nowadays, most people are not qualified materially nor spiritually.
而家嘅人兩方面都冇，又冇
So have a problem.
形式上又冇權，又唔夠覺悟啦，物質上又冇。
And Vaishyas are meant to provide economic support through agriculture and cow protection.
好啦，咁一個社會點先能夠和諧咧？第三點咧就係話嗰啲 Vaishya 嗰啲嘅務農啦，同埋經商嗰啲人咧叫 Vaishya， 即係卑舍啦。咁佢哋咧亦都能夠好好供應成個社會咧嘅經濟方面嘅支援啦，透過咧係農業啦同埋牛隻嘅保護嘅。
And those who don't follow, or rather those who don't fall in the category of Brahmana, Kshatriya and Vaishya, main Shudras, they're meant to assist through service and skills.
第四類咧就係嘅條件咧就係佢哋如果佢哋又唔係婆羅門，又唔係剎帝利，又唔係卑舍，咁就肯定係樹陀啦。咁啲樹陀係點樣咧？佢哋要幫助以上嗰三類人咧，就係要透過服務啦，同埋佢哋嘅技能咧去服務。
Yes. The core principles of Vedic governance, protection of dharma. Number one.
咁關於咧係呢個偉大嘅一個管理嘅呢個政府嚟講咧，咁佢哋嗰個嘅原則係咩咧？第一，佢哋係要去保護呢個宗教啦，同埋係唔係為咗係利益啦去管理嘅。
Leaders will understand, Vedic leaders, Vedic means Kshatriyas will understand that actually land and agriculture is meant to be the base for economic development.
咁嗰啲嘅剎帝利咧，嗰啲嘅政府咧要知道咧就係呢嘅土地咧就係為咗經濟嘅效益嘅。
So therefore in the Vedic culture we see how kings, they provide all kinds of support. They provide wells, they provide systems, irrigation systems, so that there can be a good agriculture product.
咁即係咩意思咧？個國王咧，佢哋會係支持農業嘅發展啊，佢哋會有唔同嘅政策啦，或者有啲土地啦，去增加呢個務農嘅活動嘅。
Simple living means we see in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam, especially when Narada Muni speaks about Varnashrama Dharma, minimizing our material necessities of life.
咁亦都鼓吹咧係一個政府咧，喺個偉大嘅政府咧，佢哋鼓吹咗係簡樸嘅生活啊。
Yeah.
就好似係國家談裏邊咧，Narada Muni咧係裏邊有講到嘅嘢，簡樸嘅生活。
Chanakya Pandit mentions how there are 3 ways in which one can be more easily happy.
咁佢講到咧有3個方法令到有人好容易嘅得到快樂嘅。
What are the 3 ways, easy ways, how to become happy?
係好容易，大家都好快樂嘅咧。
One is mentioned here, to live locally, localized living.
第一就係localize，即係你係樣樣都係本土化嘅，本土化咁樣去生活。
Number two, Prabhupada mentions not to be a debtor, not to borrow money.
第二咧就你唔好周圍借錢啦。
Yeah, not to spend money.
你唔好亂咁花錢。
If you have a credit card, don't use your credit card.
如果你有即係 credit card， 即係
more than necessary.
唔好用多，唔可以亂咁使錢揮霍。
And the third way in which we can be happy.
第三個方法點樣去大家容易啲快樂咧？
Very practical.
好實際嘅。
If one can digest his food properly, he'll be happy.
就係咧，你唔好夾硬食好多，或者唔好食啲難消化嘢，能夠消化即係食得到又消化得到。
Vedic culture is very practical, down to
好
earth.
實際嘅呢個。
Yeah. And in the Vedic culture, a leader, natural leader, knows that the goal of life is to become and God realized. Yeah.
咁當然啦，一個喺偉達嘅政府嚟講咧，佢知咧人民嘅需要，人民就係咧去令到佢哋咧有神嘅意識之覺，就係呢個嘅目標嚟嘅，去培育啲人民嘅意識、神嘅意識之覺。
So these are the key features here. God needs to be at the center of the state.
咁呢個就係個重點啦，就係話喺一個社會嚟講咧，佢以神為中心咧，係做一個重點嚟嘅。
Yes, and the king is the representative of God and must rule strictly according to religious principles.
喺聖典博雅談啦1.17.24咧嘅要旨裏邊講到啦。其實咧，國王咧係應該咧係神嘅代表嚟嘅，一定要去管理呢個國家社會啦，好嚴謹咁樣根據呢個宗教嘅原則嘅。
Legislation, different rules or decisions taken must be in keeping with what is in Shastra.
即係話所有嘅佢哋所作出嘅決定啊，佢哋所做嘅行動啊，都要係有經典嘅支持嘅。
Yes. A Kshatriya is duty bound to rule the citizens according to the religious principles and protect them from irreligion, from Bhagavatam.
國家談啦第7.11.2啦，咁講到咧，剎帝利嚟講咧，佢係有咁樣嘅責任啊，去管理嗰啲嘅市民啦，根據呢個宗教原則去做啦，同埋咧亦都要避免啊佢哋啲人民咧走向呢個非宗教。
I was in Montreal in 1975 when Prabhupada visited.
咁我喺1975年嗰陣時咧
Prabhupada was supposed to stay a few days, but within one day he had to return to India.
咁當時咧就係啱啱要去印度。
Because the devotees had arranged a meeting with Indira Gandhi.
咁因為呢個時咧同呢個印度嘅甘地咧係有一個聚會喺度。
Prabhupada had 10 points to present to Indira Gandhi.
咁當時咧，Prabhupada有10點咧，就係要呈獻啊，俾呢個甘地呢個。
And one of the 10 points was that she should arrange, she should arrange that all those who are ministers, when every day they go to, we say the assembly hall or parliament, they should first attend Srimad Bhagavatam class.
其中個要求咧，泡泡就話嗰啲嘅國會議員咧喺個國會嗰度咧，佢哋開會之前首先要聆聽個聖典博雅談講課。
Yeah, that's the only way they can learn what is Vedic standard, Vedic law, Vedic.
因此咧，佢哋從中咧可以學習咧乜嘢叫真正嘅偉達啊，嗰種嘅思想啊，同埋佢哋嘅哲學。
And the third reference, when from Bhagavatam, when the ruler deviates from religious principles, then the whole world becomes disturbed.
咁喺聖典博雅談啦1.14.41咧，咁嗰度講到咧，如果嗰啲嘅ruler， 即係嗰啲管理人啊，嗰啲社會管理人咧，佢哋係即係唔去執行，即係話佢哋咧偏差出呢個宗教嘅原則嘅話咧，咁整個社會咧都會受到騷擾。
All of us every day have first-hand experience.
咁呢方面個個都有經驗啊，第一手經驗啊，大家都有。
Yeah.
個個都冇一啲咁嘅好嘅管理人。
So sustainability through land and cows. Yeah.
咁關於咧係我哋可以能夠持續落去啦，透過咧係土地啦同埋呢個嘅牛隻啊。
Very, very important for all of our devotees to understand how this is the real sustainable economy.
即係話喺經濟上咧能夠持續下去咧，我哋個個奉獻者都應該要清楚，就係依靠咧土地啦同埋母牛。
Yes. And I'm just have to go a little bit quickly here. Dandaniti, danda means actually chastisement.
解即係一個即係懲罰啦。
Yeah, the rod of chastisement means that people should know if they don't follow the system, they will be punished.
意思即係話，如果佢哋唔跟隨呢個規範或者呢個嘅法律嘅話咧，咁佢哋受到懲罰啦。
Yes. Okay. Leadership, yeah. Leaders must be accepting guidance from brahmanas.
咁啲領袖方面咧，亦都要受到婆羅門啦佢哋嘅指引。
And we should understand once again how villages are the foundation of civilization.
你都要明白咧，係呢個人類嘅文明咧係建基於咧唔同嘅村落啊，村落為基礎。
A perfect social order produces Vrindavan-like villages which support pure devotional service.
一個完美嘅社會係根據呢個 Vana Ashram， 而係好似一個Vrindavan 類似嘅鄉村咁嘅話咧，就能夠咧支援到咧我哋純粹嘅奉獻服務。
And these are references, I'll just bring them up so that you can have a look and read the title. Good governance, or good government means good training.
咁我哋唔讀咁多啦，我哋讀個大題目啦。一個好嘅政府嚟講咧，意思就即係話咧有好嘅訓練啦。
And Varnashram actually means Vedic sociology. Sociology is Varnashram.
咁 Vana Ashram 就係話我哋偉大方面咧一個社會嘅學。
It is referred
方面咧就係一個唯一嘅我哋嘅解決方案。
In the Bhagavatam 7th canto, the title of those chapters are Perfect Society for Social Divisions.
咁啊，《博家談》第7篇咧就係話4個社會咧就係俾一啲最完美嘅一個社會嘅制度。
That is chapter 11. Chapter 12, again, Perfect Society for Spiritual Divisions.
第2章就係講到咧一個完美嘅一個嘅分野嚟講咧，俾一個完美嘅社會。
That means what Krishna creates naturally is perfect.
咁即係話 Krishna 創造嚟講咧，全部都係達到完美嘅。
Yeah. And according to Vedic culture, every person should own land, should be connected with land.
咁喺偉大嘅文明嚟講咧，每一個人咧都要同土地啊有連接啊，亦或者要擁有土地。
And in modern day society, the whole trend right now, modern day trend is to increase more and more population in the cities, urbanization. 咁現
今嘅社會文明咧就係越嚟越多人口啊，搞到越嚟越多嘅城市啊人口嘅出現。
So Krishna consciousness movement means actually we should have a movement towards villages.
而我哋 Krishna 知覺嘅運動，呢個運動就運翻啲人去鄉村嗰度。
Yes. Okay. And this is the last section here. Most important, especially should be of interest to householders. Money.
好啦，跟住我哋講咧係呢個關於錢方面啦、謀生方面啦，我哋嘅務農啊同埋牛隻保護啦。
Money is sweeter than honey, as they say. Right?
英文有講咧，錢仲甜過啲蜜糖。
So, Srila Prabhupada repeatedly taught that real economic development does not mean factories, banks, or artificial industry, but self-sufficient village life centered on land, cows, and Krishna.
咁聖跑派咧係不停重複咁樣咧強調咧，真正嘅呢個經濟上嘅發展嚟講咧，就並不是咧係要同呢個工廠啊、銀行啊，或者一啲即係人工化嘅呢個嘅呢個工業啊，而反而咧就應該係咩咧？ 應該咧係一個自給自足嘅一個嘅鄉村嘅生活，而以咧土地啦、母牛啦同埋 Krishna 為中心嘅。
So our model, our prototype is Vrindavan village.
所以我哋嘅一個嘅榜樣咧就係一個 Vrindavan 一個鄉村。
Not the one that is existing now, which has become polluted, the present modern day Vrindavan, but the one that Krishna demonstrated, and the one that largely up until maybe 200 years ago in all the villages in India was followed.
咁唔係可能唔係講而家嗰個 Vrindavan 喎，係講緊200年前啊，或者喺社會世界唔同嘅村落啊咁嗰啲嘅地方喎。
Yeah. And the activities of Krishna and Balaram, every day when they would go out, activities means there's a book that's part of the 64 arts and sciences that's called, you should keep it in mind, it's called Krishna Krida, Krida. Krida means plays, games. Krishna's games. Krishna Krida. Yeah, right.
It's pronounced Krida. The place.
Krida. Okay, yeah. So that's one of the 64 arts and sciences, and even to this day, if anyone goes to some of the more remote villages in India, one can still find these same games that Krishna played 5,000 years ago.
原來 Krishna 5000年前咧，佢哋都有玩遊戲嘅 Krishna Balaram。咁有64項藝術咧，咁同呢個嘅遊戲有關嘅。咁呢本書咧就叫 Krishna Kirtan。
So, yes, we mentioned already how agriculture is natural agriculture, God-centered farming.
咁亦都繼續講咧，就係關於呢個務農啦，即係農業嘅方式啦。咁呢個係以神為中心嘅，好自然嘅一種耕作啦。
And again, as I mentioned in the 11th chapter, Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 11, Prabhupada nicely in various purports, not only 11 actually, there's one chapter especially for householders, ideal family life, mentions how agriculture is meant to be main activity for householders.
咁聖典波談啦，第7篇啦，第11章啦，咁仲有其他章，咁尤其是係講到啦，一個居士嚟講咧，佢最主要嘅活動咧係務農嘅。
Yes, and agriculture means you cannot have proper agriculture without also having cows.
咁通常你如果耕得田嘅話，都要養埋牛㗎啦。
Vedic economy versus modern economy. Vedic economy is based on land, cows, real wealth being food, milk, and whereas modern economy is based on factories, etc. So that is the contrast.
咁呢個文幕咧就講咗兩種咧好唔同嘅呢個嘅現代啊嗰啲嘅經濟學啊，咁啊偉大嘅經濟學咧就係依賴咧農地啊牛啊。咁現代嘅經濟學咧就係啲機械啊、工廠啊，咁偉大嘅經濟學咧就係食物啊、牛奶啊，即係自給自足喺更加係本土化，同埋係能夠同呢個自然去和諧啊，同埋能夠支援咧奉愛啊。咁現代嘅話咧就係一啲紙做嘅錢啊，一啲嘅推敲啊，一啲嘅完全係呢個全球性嘅。一啲嘅依賴啊，即係外界嘅依賴啊，佢咧能夠亦都會令到咧我哋嘅環境啊污染啊破壞啊，咁啊亦都咧將我哋嘅靈修嘅生活咧係瓦解嘅，咁呢個就係現代嘅經濟學啦，同埋偉大嘅經濟學嘅分別。
Yes, so whatever he said is there in English. Okay, and. A few last quotes. Agriculture is the most important occupation because without food grains, no one can live.
咁呢個 務農方面咧，其實好重要嘅，因為我哋個個都要食物，嗰啲食物都係耕出嚟噶嘛。如果唔係，我哋生存唔到。
If people can take to agriculture and crop protection, there will be no economic problem.
如果個個都係集中響呢個務農啊同埋牛隻嘅保護嘅話咧，咁呢個世界根本就冇呢個經濟嘅問題。
Yes. And you grow your own food, protect the cows, and chant Hare Krishna. This is civilization.
咁拋拋係一個 morning walk， 即係晨早嘅步行嘅時候咧，1977年講到啦。如果你係生產自己嘅食物啊，同埋保護啲牛隻啊，同埋念誦 Hare Krishna 嘅話咧，咁呢個就係我哋嘅文明啦。
And if we do that, then we'll have cow's milk.
咁如果咁做嘅話咧，我哋會有牛奶飲啦。
Yes. And people should not be sent to factories. Let them live in village, grow food, and protect cows.
1974年嘅拋拋講座咧，講到話啲人咧，佢哋咧唔應該被派去呢個工廠嗰度啊，讓佢哋咧去生存喺呢個鄉村嗰度啦，自己去生產食物啦，同埋保護牛隻啦。
So this is actually meant to be the alternative civilization.
呢個就係我哋所講嘅代替方案嘅呢個嘅文明。
There is no other alternative.
冇其他代替方案，係得呢個嘅。
Yeah. Questions or comments?
好啦，有冇咩評論啊或者問題咧？大家。
Yes.
It's still very ideal.
It seems ideal. Well, to be pure devotee also seems very ideal, isn't it?
Prabhupada teaching very nice.
Huh?
Prabhupada teaching very nice.
Yes.
But you see, hard and far. The modern city, so-called modern civilization.
Yes.
Translation, please.
咁啊，朱長媽就話咧。講得好理想啊，同埋拋派亦都講得好好嘅，但係點樣實行咧？我哋呢個嘅情況。
So therefore, as you rightly mentioned, it is so-called, isn't it?
就好似你話都所謂係啦，所謂啦。
So it is a major challenge, but actually that is what Shastra is telling, and that is the real practical solution to the problem.
咁啊，呢個對我哋一種挑戰嚟嘅，都唔容易做㗎。不過就其實一個唯一嘅方法就係，即係點樣去改善同埋點樣去糾正呢個錯誤。
However, let's say far away it may seem from where we are now.
咁當然啦，我哋離開呢個理想仲有好遠好遠條路。
You know, it's the same thing. It's like, you know, to become pure devotees, my God, you know. To go back home, back to Godhead is like, wow.
就好似我哋嘅理想都係㗎，咁啊要回歸神手咁樣啊，成為純粹奉愛咁樣，好遠，仲有好遠好遠要走啊。
So none of this is possible unless we get Krishna's mercy.
其實呢啲嘢點樣先可以得到咧？先有可能咧，我哋都係要 Krishna 嘅恩賜。
Same is mentioned, Kali Kali Yuga Dharma Harinama Sankirtana Krishna Shakti Vinanahe Tara Pravartan. Without Krishna Shakti, mercy of Krishna, not possible.
所以所有呢啲嘢咧，都係要 Krishna Shakti 啊 ，Krishna 嘅恩賜啊，所以先能夠成就啊，先有可能。
So we have to increase our prayers so that we can get more of Krishna Shakti.
所以我哋要。而家要做嘅咧就係多啲祈禱啦，希望得到 Krishna 嘅恩賜啦 ，Krishna 嘅 Shakti。
Because otherwise it is impossible.
係啊，否則嘅話係唔可能㗎。
But as we all know, Srila Prabhupada told us very clearly that the word impossible doesn't exist for devotees.
咁亦都有講到啦，拋話啦，不可能呢個字咧。喺 Krishna 嘅係我哋嘅 Krishna 即係我哋 Krishna 奉獻者字典裏邊係冇呢個字嘅。
Or to put it directly as Prabhupada, the word impossible is in a fool's dictionary.
咁或者另一句説話咧，啲愚蠢人嘅字典咧先至有呢個字，不可能嘅。
What is the difficulty?
Yes, what is the difficulty?
有咩咁困難咧？
The difficulty is us. Otherwise, there's no our
要突破我哋。
lack of conviction, or lack of surrender, or lack of adosradha, faith.
我哋唔夠信心啦，我哋太過弱啦，我哋冇呢個能量啦去做。
We are limited in so many ways, but Krishna is unlimited. So we take shelter of Krishna, and the unlimited becomes, the impossible becomes possible.
咁我哋係受好多限制啊 ，Krishna， 但係就唔受限制嘅。咁我哋唯有多啲託俾 Krishna 咧。當呢個無限 Krishna 係出手嘅話咧，咁我哋我哋嘅有限都變得無限。
It's already on the late side. Once again, one last question or comment. Yes, back.
我個問題咧就係喺 Iskcon 個廟嘅管理人咧，同喺 Iskcon 嘅農場嘅管理人咧，佢哋嗰個品質嘅要求嘅區別係點樣可以推動呢個farm community？
So she's asking, there may be some different quality needed for a manager of a temple and a manager of a farm community. So how to push a good success farm community?
Yeah, of course, managing a temple is one level of management. Managing a community where you have cows, where you have so many living entities growing in the ground is, but it's all based on these principles. This presentation especially is showing us how when we train individuals according to their nature in the different sciences that make up Vedic, that make up any society, especially Vedic society, then when we receive this training, then we can manage either a temple or we can manage a Vedic community.
咁點都好啦，佢哋兩者咧都需要一啲嘅訓練啦。咁當然啦，喺呢個農場嚟講咧，咁有好多生物體啦，咁即係有唔同嘅管理方式啦。咁但係點都好啦，咁我哋都係按照咧嗰啲所受管理嘅人物啦，佢哋唔同嘅本性啦，佢哋嘅習慣啦，佢哋嘅方式咧，咁樣去作出一個調整啦。咁好好咁樣配合啦，咁去管理嘅。
Yeah, we basically have to take up the training that is recommended in the Shastra, then we will have qualified individuals. Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai.
咁即係按照經典咧嚟到做啦，即係按照佢哋嘅本性啦嘅方式嚟到管理啦。咁佢配合底下咧，就有一個好嘅和諧嘅安排。
Perfect timing. Now we're getting the blessings of Gaurnitai.
咁而家啱啱最好嘅時機啦，我哋得到呢個 Gaurnitai 嘅祝福。
Jai Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki. So thank you all very much.
多謝大家。
Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. He accepted you too.
Hare Krishna. Anyone have a birthday today? I have a garland here. Yesterday, tomorrow, next week, this month, this year.
有冇人近排生日啊？可以接受到花環。
Ah, yes. I will.
April 9.
Yes, it's very close. Yeah. Yes, the closest. Hare Krishna. Okay. Jai Shri Krishna.